Council meeting of April 21st, 2022. City Clerk, could we have a preamble, please?
Meeting is compliant with the Ralph M. Brown Act as amended by California Assembly Bill number 361, effective September 16th, 2021, providing for a public health emergency exception to the standard teleconference rules required by the Brown Act. The purpose of this is to provide a safe environment for the public, staff, and council members while allowing for public participation. The public may address the council using exclusively remote public comment option. The council may take action on any item listed in the agenda. Members of the public may view the City Council meeting by logging into the Zoom webinar listed below. City Council meetings can also be viewed live and or on demand via the city's YouTube channel, youtube.com/BrisbaneCA, or on Comcast Channel 27. Archive videos can be replayed on the city's website, brisbaneca.org/meetings. The City Council meeting will be an exclusively virtual meeting. The agenda materials may be viewed online at brisbaneca.org at least 24 hours prior to a special meeting and at least 72 hours prior to a regular meeting. Meeting participants are encouraged to submit public comments in writing in advance of the meeting. Aside from commenting while in the Zoom webinar, the following email and text line will also be monitored during the meeting, and public comments received will be noted for the record during oral communications 1 and 2, or during an item. Email ipadilla@brisbaneca.org, text 628-219-2922, and the Zoom webinar with the ID 991-9362-8666 and the passcode 123456, and the call-in number 1-669-900-9128. If you need special assistance to participate in this meeting, please contact the City Clerk at 415-508-2113. Notification in advance of the meeting will enable the city to make reasonable arrangements to ensure accessibility to this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, City Clerk. Meeting is called to order at 7:37 p.m. Would you please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Cunningham.
I'm here.
Member Davis.
Here.
Councilmember Lent.
Here.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Here.
And Mayor Mackin.
Here. City Attorney, could we have a report out of closed session, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Council met in closed session, discussed two litigation matters, one threatened and one pending, and provide direction to the city attorney.
Thank you. Can I get a first and second to adopt the agenda as it stands, please?
So, I'll second.
Can we try that again? Okay, we have a motion by Cunningham, second by O'Connell.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cunningham. Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Lentz.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
And Mayor Mackin.
Aye. Moving to oral communication, City Clerk, do we have any member of the public wishing to speak on an item that is not on the agenda?
Madam Mayor, I have not received any written correspondences, text messages, and I see no hands raised.
Thank you. Moving to the consent calendar, I'll entertain a first and second to approve consent calendar items. Those are A through E.
So moved. I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion by Lentz and a second by O'Connell. Could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Cunningham.
Aye.
Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Lentz.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
And Mayor Mackin.
Aye. Moving to new business. Tonight we have item F, consider adoption of resolution supporting state pension divestment bill. Staff report, please.
Honorable Mayor and Council members, Adrienne Etherton, Sustainability Manager. The matter before you is a resolution in support of State Bill 1173, the Fossil Fuel Divestment Act, which is currently being considered by the state legislature. As noted in the staff report, this action is recommended by the Open Space and Ecology Committee, which considered it at their March meeting. And it would be consistent with a city resolution passed in 2014, encouraging our state pension funds to divest from fossil fuels, as well as with the climate emergency declaration passed last July. OSEC member Glenn Feldman is with us to provide further background and status of the bill, as this is an issue that she has been working on for a number of years. I'll go ahead and pass it to Glenn.
Thank you, Adrienne.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Adrienne. Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. As Adrienne said, you have in front of you a draft resolution in support of Senate Bill 1173, authored by Senators Gonzalez and Wiener, which requires the state pension funds, CalPERS and CalSTRS, which is the teachers fund, to stop immediately investing in fossil fuels as defined by the Carbon 200, and to divest themselves of the assets in fossil fuels that they currently hold with a due date of 2027. I'm here to explain why OSEC passed this on to you and to speak in support of this resolution. On Tuesday, this Tuesday that is, the bill was passed out of the Senate Judiciary Committee. It has also been passed by the Labor, Pensions, and Retirement Committee in the State Senate. It has one more committee to go, that's Appropriations. Assuming that it passes that, it will go on to the full Senate and to the Assembly. A little history behind this. Advocates of divestment have, for close to a decade now, asked the pension funds, CalPERS and CalSTRS, and by the way, the retirement funds of many cities, including Brisbane, are invested by CalPERS because a lot of cities don't have the bandwidth to hire people to invest these funds on their own. So this bill does have some effect on the pensions of city employees. So it's relevant to Brisbane. So for close to a decade now, advocates of divestment have asked the funds directly to get rid of their fossil fuel assets for several reasons. First, among these, of course, is the role of fossil fuel production and consumption in the rapidly advancing climate crisis. I'm not going to say a lot about that. I think anybody in California who watched the city of Paradise burn to the ground, who watched Santa Rosa burn, who has observed the drought that's affecting our state, understands that the climate crisis is here and understands the roles of fossil fuels in it. Added to the climate effects of fossil fuel combustion are the human health effects of breathing the byproducts of fossil fuel combustion and the human and ecological costs of fossil fuel production and transportation. The second category of reasons, though, is that fossil fuels are not a good investment. That's become increasingly clear over the last several years. Fossil fuel use, the consequences of fossil fuel use are a threat to other assets in the fund's portfolio. For example, tourism, real estate, recreation, and insurance come to mind. And studies performed by academics and investment firms alike show that a fossil fuel-free portfolio earns as much or more than a portfolio that contains fossil fuels. In the case of CalPERS, one study calculated that CalPERS would have earned about $11 billion more over a 5-year period without fossil fuels than it has earned with fossil fuels. So the argument for the economic argument for divesting from fossil fuels is increasingly strong. Furthermore, these assets, fossil fuel assets, that is, are increasingly risky going forward. Renewables and storage are getting a lot cheaper. The industry is facing dozens of lawsuits brought by cities and states, including San Francisco, Counties are in there too. San Mateo County still has an active lawsuit. Baltimore just filed suit a couple of months ago. So the litigation risk is increasing very quickly as cities and counties and other, municipalities attempt to recover some of the costs that climate change is already imposing on them. Finally, a lot of the smart money is leaving fossil fuels already. Trillions of dollars have already been divested. And so there's a real risk of what are called stranded assets going forward. CalPERS and CalSTRS have not only continued to hold fossil fuel assets, but they seemingly refuse even to consider the risks of holding on to them. I saw this for myself on Tuesday morning. I attended the public portion of the CalPERS board meeting. Senate Bill 1173 was on the agenda at that meeting. Fossil Free California, a divestment advocacy organization with which I've still work, had submitted a letter of several pages citing multiple sources, mostly academic sources, asking the CalPERS board to support the divestment bill. It was really striking to me that the board flatly refused to consider the evidence that had been we made available to them to oppose continuing to hold these investments. And they refused to support SB 1173 after no discussion whatsoever, not even a single sentence. So we don't feel that they're considering the risks of continuing to hold these investments. The CalPERS board has argued in the past that fossil fuel divestment will de-diversify and thus threaten the earnings of their investment portfolio. However, one of the studies that we cited in our letter to them studied exactly that question. Would getting rid of fossil fuel investments de-diversify the portfolio and threaten returns? And the answer that the researchers came up with, and this was an academic paper, said no, that divesting fossil fuels would not de-diversify the portfolio and threaten the earnings of the portfolio. CalPERS further claims that holding these shares will allow them to engage with the companies, that is, as stockholders, to talk to the companies and somehow to persuade them to take a greener path, to depart from their core business of finding, extracting, refining, and selling fossil fuels and get into the alternative energy space. We also provided an academic study on the results of engagement because that kind of engagement has been going on for years now. And what that study found was that the results of engagement have been extremely disappointing, that the companies, that is, are not departing from their core business. And it's understandable why they would not. This is what they do. So that's why we have pushed and are backing SB 1173 in the California State Legislature. And I hope that the council will pass the resolution in support of this very important bill. By the way, the major author of the letter that was submitted to the CalPERS board that I've referred to several times has given me permission to share that. If any member of the council or the public is interested, they may contact me and see for themselves the references that we supplied. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the council for either Ms. Fieldman or Etherton? Barry? Councilmember Lynch, you had your hand up?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to thank you, Glenn, for that great presentation. You really did your homework and really laid out, the reasons why we should support it. I have to say, I did see a Chevron commercial not too long ago, and they were doing a really good job. And with the environment, and we all know that's just phony. And we do need to, just get out of investing in these companies, because that's what supports them to continue to do the awful work that they're doing, ruining the environment just to make profit. So, but I do hope that that these companies do change. I mean, obviously, if it makes them money, they're gonna be, going towards more alternative energy. But at this time, there's still too much invested in fossil fuels, and this sends a strong message. So thank you for all the hard work.
Councilmember O'Connell? You're muted.
Sorry, I did think of a question for you, Glenn, and thank you. You did a great presentation. Besides cities and municipalities, are the state schools involved in this measure also?
Well, for example, as an employee of California State University, my retirement is invested with CalPERS. So in that way, all the employees of the state university system are involved in this. I'm not sure I'm answering your question, though.
You are. It was a roundabout way of asking what other municipalities or systems were involved. And you are directly involved in this pension program that would be affected. And you feel that it's a good way to use your money. And I think that that's really important when you're asking people to change how they invest, that you're willing to put your money where your where the theory is that it'll be a good thing for your investments also. And I think that's a good point to make. And I appreciate that you are willing to put your money where your mouth is and support this. And so thank you.
I might add, I'm noting that in the FAQ sheet for the bill, it notes that an estimated 1,500 institutions have already committed to divestment and list the University of California and the California State University on that list, along with other institutions outside.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of different retirement funds and other funds that have divested. The CalPERS fund is one of the biggest investment or retirement funds in the entire country. It's got about $500 billion under management. It collects money out of employee paychecks and from institutions and pays the pensions of hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of California state employees. And that's where, people like me are engaged in it, because our pensions are paid out of that, the CalPERS fund.
Councilmember Cunningham, you have a hand raised.
I do. Thank you. Thanks, Glenn. That was very enlightening. And I know you do a lot of hard work on a lot of these things. This might be a rhetorical question, and I'm not involved in the day-to-day, looking at, who does what on what board, because each board has their own reasons for doing things. But it seems to me, just looking at this, is that the board opposed without even looking at the alternatives. That is so alarming to me, from a lot of different perspectives. But this is affecting California as a whole. It's affecting all of our teachers. It's affecting all of our state employees, correct?
Right.
Right. And I'm not educated on this, so I'm kind of throwing it out there. So do we know why, and can we put pressure on them to look at why they're opposing something without questioning it? It's, as I said, it's probably a rhetorical question, but I'm kind of shocked. And you know, why wouldn't we look at better ways of investing? So again, rhetorical question, but just want to throw that out there, maybe to stimulate conversation from the City Council as well. But Glenn, thanks very much for that presentation.
Yeah, I was very shocked too. I mean, the funds have very consistently refused to divest. They have said, you know, we're the investment professionals. We know what we're doing. We our fiduciary duty, and they're right about that. Their fiduciary duty is to pay the pensions that they're obligated to pay. So they've been pretty consistent, but I was really flabbergasted that we prepared, Sarah Teese, who's on the Fossil Free California board and is an attorney, prepared this letter. I contributed to it by providing some of the sources that she used. But this is a very well laid out letter with bristled with sources and references. And they just didn't even discuss it. I was pretty shocked that they would be that cavalier about it. And in response to your question about how to make them pay attention, well, that's why there's a bill in the legislature. You know, if we had been able to get them to pay attention before, we wouldn't have sought a legislative remedy. But that is why why we are seeking a legislative remedy. So I don't know if I've answered your question or not.
Well, sort of, but thank you. And you know, I'm just confused as to why you don't look at a problem. Thank you.
Councilmember Davis?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. I just have one question, and I don't necessarily expect you to have the answer, but I'm just curious if you do. Given that California often sets the tone the way the rest of the country, are there any other states that have taken similar actions with regard to encouraging, if not requiring, divestment of fossil fuels?
Yes, the state of Maine last year, I believe was the date, passed a bill requiring its public pension funds to divest from fossil fuels. And in fact, we've kind of modeled our request for a bill on theirs. New York, and I have to confess, I haven't kept up with New York, but I believe that one entity in New York, maybe New York City, has also passed a divestment bill, but please don't take that as gospel truth. But Maine has definitely passed theirs, it's law.
I will confirm that the state and city of New York are both listed in the FAQ document as also having passed.
Thanks for reading our FAQ.
And then
Yeah,
I would ask a segue into it then. Have we seen anything on a federal level to do the same? Has there been any kind of initiative or bravery on the part of our DC legislators to encourage divestment of fossil fuel?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. All right. Well, I would just comment that when we see the effect of climate change with all the natural disasters, and when you look at the economic toll of paying for rebuilding cities and coastlines and people's homes and insurance companies, and then when those disasters happen and you see all the other stock go down because of constant disasters, I don't understand how the thinking of investing in fossil fuels is helping the entire portfolio, because it really isn't. So It boggles the mind on this.
Just one final comment, if I may. PBS is kind of late to the climate change party. In my opinion, they have not done nearly enough to talk about it, but their investigative journalism show, Frontline, is now doing a 3-part series on the oil companies and how they have actively obstructed action on climate change, which to my mind is another reason not to believe them when they say that they're changing their ways and going green. The first episode of this Frontline series, which I guess is 3 shows, was shown on Tuesday night. It is available to watch online, and it is, if you haven't followed the antics of the oil companies throughout the climate change saga, it is extremely enlightening. Quick takeaway, ExxonMobil, biggest company in the world for many, many decades, had its own staff scientists studying the accumulation of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere in the 1970s. And they had come to the conclusion by the end of the 1970s that their product was going to heat the planet. And they lied about those findings to the public and to policymakers and have contributed very significantly to our failure to take action on this problem, which we have known about for decades. It's really quite stunning. You can watch the show online at the PBS website, and I recommend it to everybody.
You took the words out of my mouth because I read about the research going back to the 1950s, even 60s and 70s, of oil companies understanding the effects of fossil fuels on climate change. And so the whole notion of trying to encourage them to think about going into clean energy seems really pretty ludicrous at this point, because there's been decades to do that.
Yeah.
At this point, do we have any public comment, City Clerk?
Madam Mayor, I have not received any written correspondence or text messages, and I see no hands raised with the attendees.
Okay. Do we have any further staff discussion? Anyone like to start?
I don't, but I'll make a motion, Madam Mayor, to approve resolution or approve a resolution in support of SB 1173.
And
I would second.
second. Could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Cunningham,
Aye.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell,
Aye.
Mayor Mackin.
Aye. Thank you much for that presentation. It was really valuable.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
And Ingrid, do you need my aye since I made the motion?
Sorry about that, Councilmember Lent.
Aye. Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you, everyone.
We move on to item D, which is to adopt a resolution designating certain ad hoc committees as standing subcommittees of the City Council and dissolving the special event, gun safety, Luna Film Festival, and beautification ad hoc committees. Could we have a staff report, please?
Madam Mayor and council members, this item is regarding the designation of certain ad hoc committees and also dissolving other ad hoc committees. For purposes of the Brown Act, standing committees of a legislative body, such as the City Council, are also considered legislative bodies and hence are subject to the requirements of the Brown Act. Standing committees of either 1, continuing subject matter jurisdiction, or 2, a meeting schedule fixed by some formal action of the legislative body, such as an ordinance or resolution. Typically, standing committees are less than a quorum of the legislative body. The Brown Act also identifies temporary advisory committees, aka ad hoc committees. So these legislative bodies serve a limited or single purpose, are not perpetual, and that will be dissolved once their specific tasks have been completed. These committees, unlike standing committees, are not subject to the Brown Act requirement. So with that, currently we have 12 standing committees for the City Council and 11 ad hoc committees. Staff has reviewed the purposes of these ad hoc committees and the frequency with which they have met and whether their tasks have been completed. So based on these factors, staff recommends that the following ad hoc committees be designated as standing committees of the council. And this would be the Sierra Point Design Guidelines, Sierra Point Park and Open Space. Titles, both of those titles are kind of renamed. Cannabis Issues, transportation demand management policy, and community garden. Staff makes this recommendation because even though some of these committees have not met frequently, their purposes are ongoing and their subject matter jurisdiction is of interest to the community, and they should be subject to the Brown Act's requirement, just as the council's other standing subcommittees are. The staff is also recommending that the special event, Gun Safety, LunaFest Film Festival, and Beautification ad hoc committees be dissolved because the special event and gun safety ad hoc committees addressed one-time issues. LunaFest Film Festival is not run by the city, and the beautification was informally formed and does not meet the legal definition of a standing committee or of a temporary advisory committee. And secondly, the Cocker Park Noise and City Manager Contract and Recruitment ad hoc committees remain for now, but subject to review by the city attorney. So consistent with the foregoing, a resolution designating certain ad hoc committees as standing subcommittees and dissolving others, other ad hoc committees is attached. And
You froze up there at the beginning of your last section.
in terms of the recommendation,
Yes.
so staff has reviewed the purposes of the ad hoc committees and recommending that the following ad hoc committees be designated as standing subcommittees: the Sierra Point Design Guidelines, Sierra Point Park and Open Space, Cannabis Issues, the Transportation Demand Management Policy, and the Community Garden. Staff also recommends that the special event, Gun Safety, LunaFest Film Festival, and
Yeah.
Beautification ad hoc.
You just froze again at the end of community
Let me go ahead and
garden.
let me go ahead and just remove my
Area
video.
is frozen now.
Can you hear me?
If I may, Madam Mayor, it's not frozen for me, one.
Yeah, it's been fine for me as
Oh,
well.
okay.
But
Area is frozen for me right
I think it
now.
might be Terry's.
Oh, I
Yes,
see.
Terry's very frozen.
I've had Tom and Terry both freezing.
so,
We're all
Mayor,
having-
There's something going on with the planet's alignment. I have no idea.
yeah, so,
It is a
Madam,
little chilly outside. Nice.
Not that
Madam
cold.
Mayor, Madam Mayor and Madam Clerk, could we just go to video when somebody's I'm sorry, audio only when somebody's speaking? So that they,
So hopefully, let's see. Councilmember O'Connell has also stopped their video. So consistent with the foregoing resolution, we're designating certain, attaches the resolution designating certain ad hoc committees as standing subcommittees and dissolving other ad hoc committees. City Manager Hossain is also available for questions.
Staff questions? Councilmember Cunningham.
I have one question about the beautification ad hoc committee. That was put together basically to look at, the entrance to Brisbane, and how ugly that really is. So what can we roll that into play?
We can continue to meet. The issue is it just isn't a committee because you were the only council person on it. So if you have a desire to continue to, I know, we ran into COVID.
Yeah.
We had a lot of great ideas. We're about ready to go forward and then we ran into COVID. So why don't you and I get together and we can kind of discuss that. It's relevant to, the budget discussion coming up. But the only reason that we're recommending what we are is because it just didn't meet the definition of a committee.
No, I understand that. And then, of course, if we have other issues with external entities trying to change the entrance to our town, we don't want to be spending a lot of money or time on something that might not be there. But yes, let's talk about that. Thank you.
Also, Clay, I'm on beautification as well. There's two of us on that.
That was your pre-council days, right?
The last time we went through the committee assignments, I
Oh,
was still there.
okay. That may be. In that case, it probably would meet the definition of a standing committee if there's going to be two council appointees to it. So if you want to do that, we can handle it that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
Thumbs
decision
up.
is based on a single council, just a record. It's just a timing issue.
Okay,
I think it's important.
okay.
I'm sorry,
Councilmember-
I'm going back to for my notes here. Beautification will continue to be ad hoc.
I think it's probably gonna need.
No,
to
no,
be
no,
a
no.
standing
Meeting, right?
Committee.
Committee.
Yeah, regular subcommittee.
Got it.
I think so too. That's a good idea.
Councilmember Davis,
I don't have any questions.
Councilmember O'Connell,
No questions.
okay, so I have a question. The community garden, and I know that's fairly new, but we didn't have a garden steward. Do we really need a committee, or should they be liaisons?
Let's see how the new situation works out. It's been a contentious issue, Colleen, for a long time. Let me just,
I don't even know. I just.
okay,
I
so
thought
we
about
don't need to,
had a steward.
we just put new people in, can we just leave that one for a little bit and just see how it works out
Yeah, I agree.
and come back in a couple months and check in with the people who are involved, and I think it's working out well, but I don't know. Let's just, can we hang in there on that one for a bit?
Okay. And then Sierra Point has two now being recommended as standing committees. Is there any way they could actually be combined? I think it's
Well,
the same people.
The same two people are on it. The only difference is that for the park planning piece, we were also going to be including members of your committees like Parks and Rec, Open Space, I think some others. And so that was the only reason that they were separated out.
Okay, that
I
makes
agree.
sense.
I thought that they may be able to be combined, but looking at them because they have a different membership, they really do need to be separated.
That makes sense. That's a distinction. Understood. I have no further questions. Do we have any members of the public wishing to ask questions on this?
Madam Mayor, there are none. There's no raised hands or text messages or written correspondence is received.
Okay. So do we need any further council discussion on this? Anyone? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the attached resolution, including beautification to the standing subcommittee list, and remove the other ones from that were recommended.
Is that the correct motion? Just want to make sure. Yes,
Oh.
okay, I'll second that.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cunningham,
I,
Councilmember Davis,
Hi.
Councilmember Lent.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell,
Aye.
and Mayor Maxim.
Hi. Thank you. Moving to staff report. City manager, could we have your report on upcoming activities, please?
On to the first. So earlier this week, we had a power outage in town that was suspected to be caused by a Mylar balloon becoming entangled in a power line. PG&E reports that 600 of these types of incidences occurred last year across their service area. We're just reminding the public to be sure to secure their balloons when they're outdoors to avoid contact with power line and causing power outages. And we will try to get some additional public information out and also notify people when they have reservations at the park and at Mission Blue. Try to avoid this potential because it obviously can have significant impact. We are proposing to do a month-long recruitment period for up to 3 remaining seats on the Complete Street Safety Committee and the Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity and Accountability IDEA Committee, starting at tomorrow, April 22nd through May 25th at 5 p.m. We did have a recent meeting of the Complete Streets Committee that was not able to take place because we didn't have a quorum. So feeling a need to get moving on, trying to get a recruitment done. Habitat Restoration Day is this Sunday or Saturday, excuse me, from 9:30 to 12:30. City of Brisbane and San Bruno Mountain Watch is sponsored by the South San Francisco Scavengers. You can enjoy beautiful views of the mountain and participate in the Habitat Reservation on the week of Earth Day, April 22nd, which is tomorrow. Lunch will be provided. You can meet at the corner of Monarch and Mission Blue Drive. Register now so enough sandwiches can be ordered at mountainwatch.org. The hydrant painting and restoration program is up and running. You can sign up at brisbaneca.org/hydrants. By April 28th to secure your hydrant. Hydrant painting and restoration weekend takes place May 14th and 15th. The city's Adopt a Drain program is back. You can locate your home and sign up and help keep the storm drains clear at brisbaneca.org/adopt-a-drain. And then finally, Leaders in Training, summer volunteer opportunity. Leaders in Training program is a great opportunity for rising 7th to 11th graders to develop leadership skills while having fun. The Leaders in Training will learn from and assist the Brisbane Summer Camp with things like leading activities, arts and crafts, sports, and field trips. Completed LIT hours may be used for community service. For details, to go and apply at brisbaneca.org/LIT. And that's tonight's report.
Thank you, Clay. Moving on to Mayor Council matters. We'll start our countywide assignments and subcommittee report.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
Oh,
sorry to interrupt. There was I think we missed an item, but I can cover it. It was Clay or Ryan. I think between the two of us, we just one of them missed. A couple council members asked some weeks ago about doing a conflict of interest refresher for all, not just the council. We had that many weeks ago, but also for city commissions and committees. And in the process that Clay just went through when each committee and commission was looked at for other purposes, we also went through and looked at when the last updates were on conflict of interest rules under California law, as well as the city's own code. And so as city attorney, I've prepared a memo with former city attorney Michael Roush, and it will be circulated to all city council all city committee and commissioners on Monday, the 25th. And it will reflect, although not a vote, certainly a majority of you had expressed to me privately that you would hope that the city would focus on not just actual legal violations, but appearances of conflict, to remind everybody the city wants to be as appearance-free on conflict as possible at all levels of government. And so the memo it doesn't just touch on the law. As a refresher, it also goes into the city council's direction in that regard, informal direction in that regard, and also points to a couple best practices on avoiding appearances of conflict of interest, even when you don't have a legal duty to do so. So that memo will be circulated on Monday, the 25th, I believe. Is that right, Madam Clerk?
Right.
Thank you.
thank you very much. Okay, we'll go back again to countywide assignments subcommittee report. Councilmember Cunningham, you want to start?
I do. I'm super excited about the BPAC decision to finally fund the restoration from San Benito San 0 Point walkway, excuse me, down to Alvarado. I cried when I heard this news, only because we have tried for so long to secure the funds, about $250,000, to make this walkway a safe place for all pedestrians, but mainly so our kids don't have to walk down that very windy small part of San Benito to school. This is monumental in my mind. It's a small thing, really, but it is such an important thing and such an incredible safety thing. I was like, yes, it was like I won the lottery that we actually have this in hand after many years of certain people not wanting to fund this for various reasons, but it is funded, it is going to happen, and it is super exciting. So for all the parents out there who have kids who are walking to school, who walk down San Benito with no sidewalks, a very narrow, windy, blind street, this is being fixed. So I am so excited. And I had a couple of other things, but other people can probably get on that.
Very
But
good
just wanted to say how phenomenal it is that finally came through. The BPAC committee, which is part of CCAG. And in case you don't know, I'm always out there going, let's get things done. So it got done. Woo!
Yeah, that is awesome. That is
so
incredible.
awesome.
You know how long that's been, and
Oh,
yeah,
I
you're
know.
right. There were some personalities that just didn't want to fund that cause, and yeah, but
It's done, and
yeah,
we have an incredible relationship now with the people in CCAG, and I just hope that we can, help convince them that there are many other things that they should, step up and say yes to Brisbane. Thanks.
Thank you, and thank you for your efforts there. Great news. Councilmember Lynch, you want to go next?
sure. Thank you, Mayor. So this morning I had a commute.org meeting, and we had a presentation from CCAG in regards to the TDM plan that the TA is sponsoring some funds to do pilot programs, and one of the programs that that the TA is actually supporting is through the Jefferson Union High School District. So they're building some workforce housing, and Karen, you're going to love this. So the pilot program is going to be for the workforce housing that they're building. They're going to provide the shuttle van that then the teachers, and I guess other school district employees, can use to drive themselves to and from their place of work, which are the various schools in the district. They'll also be able to use those vans for short trips, kind of similar to car sharing. And then they're also going to be rolling out a bicycle program, electric bike program for these workers, and coming up with a safe route to school for teachers, right? To ride their bikes safely to school, and providing training for the teachers to be safe when they're commuting. So, and commute.org is going to be helping to manage that. So that was cool news. And then you and I, Karen, had economic development subcommittee meeting, and we got the update from Mitch. One of the things that we're starting to do is to have a conversation with the village in regards to, are there opportunities to work together in regards to our youth properties? So definitely in the early stages. Anything else, Karen, you want to add to that?
Just so everybody knows, the questions are going to come up, and I'm going to preempt this by saying it is very preliminary. Yes, we purchased the Bank of America property. Yes, we are looking at multiple options that are going to be coming forth in the next, short period of time. I'm not sure what that means. In the meantime, there has been some interest from the shopping center relative to the fact that we purchased the Bank of America building. So standby is the only answer I have to that thought process, but just know that there is interest from other parties relative to the fact that we purchased the Bank of America building, which we knew was probably going to be the case anyway. That's all I need to say, because the rest of it is speculation.
Thank you. It's good to hear that that dialogue has started. A lot of moving parts there, but it has to start somewhere. Thank you. Councilmember O'Connell?
I don't think I had any meetings this week.
Okay. Councilmember Davis?
Didn't have any.
And I didn't have any. That's very quick. All right. City Clerk, do we have any written correspondence?
Council received correspondence from Preamble on April 19th regarding Mylar balloons caused fire yesterday, as well as power outages, and should be banned in Brisbane.
Okay, thank you. And moving to oral communications, number 2, do we have any member of the public wishing to speak at this time?
There are no members of the public wishing to speak, and I have not received any text messages or written correspondence, Madam Mayor.
Okay, that being said, this meeting is adjourned at 8:26 p.m., a record short meeting, and please have a good weekend. Thank you for your participation, and good night.